So what you don't want to do is be needy. And let's get on a call and hammer out the details. Get a contract going so we can figure out basically how I can sell you shit. That's what you're saying. You're saying it without saying it. You have to be a little bit more nuanced about it. Say, hey, if you like this, a couple more things that I think would be really helpful for you. I'd be happy to go over them on a call. Let me know when would be the best time for you to do that. That's a much more nuanced way of selling. And it makes it a lot less of a pressurized environment. It makes it more natural, the flow of the conversation. So now that we have you talking to the right people, giving free value, making sure that they see you as an expert, they're aware of the problem. Now what we want to do is we get into the offer. Let's say you get on a call. Let's say you ask them some questions. Maybe you don't get on a call, but you go back and forth through DMs or whatever. Eventually, you ask them questions, you qualify them, they understand that whatever you have can add value to their life or their business. Now, we get to the offer, and the offer needs to be as risk-free as possible. Now remember, they may view you as an expert, they may view you as someone that can fix whatever they have, but there's still always risk involved for them, and most people don't like risk. In real estate, we did this. We said, don't pay us anything up front. You only pay if we sell your house. That's the only scenario where you pay. If we get this going today, notice that I didn't say if you sign the contract, because that's not the language you want to use. If we get this going, if we start today, if we get things rolling, whatever. You don't pay me anything up front. If we sell your house, yes, you'll pay me, but we'll both be happy because mission accomplished, right? If we don't, or if you change your mind, maybe if your hamster dies tomorrow and you decide this is a bad omen and I don't want to sell my house, we forget this happened, we'll close the file, you don't have to pay anything, there's no bad stuff happening if that happens. There was zero risk for them. And I could do this because I knew the numbers. Like I ran the numbers and I knew the vast majority of these are being sold, the transaction size was fine, I could easily make the guarantee, and I closed way more deals because of the guarantee. Now, when I did business to business, maybe there was like a small fee to get started, and then when things got rolling and there was a monthly retainer involved or an override on their sales figures, doesn't really matter, but you want to make the hurdle to getting started as small as possible and the risk as small as possible as well. So it must be easy for them to get started. That's why you usually start out with a small size project, and you can make sure that you tell them, hey, what I'd like to do is basically get started on something small so we can get to know each other. And the reason why I do this, I like to work with people that I like, and I'm sure you're the same way. Let's say we start working together and it turns out that you don't like me or I don't like you, which is both are equally as bad, because it doesn't make sense for us to work with each other if we don't like each other. So let's start off with something small. If it works out, great. We'll talk about more stuff in the future. If it doesn't work out, also great. No hard feelings. If you notice, what happens is that you're not needy. You're subtly saying, I need to like you as well. It's not just you liking me. I need to like you as well. And it's a very risk-free way for them to get started. So think about your offer. Look at the world from their perspective and think about a way where you can reduce risk as much as possible to them, because it will drastically increase your closing rate. Now, talking about closing, that's the last part. And entire libraries have been filled with books on closing. I must have read dozens of books on closing. Used to have a swipe file of at least 150 closes. I think I only use like 2 regularly. Because if you've done the steps that we talked about, if you've done it right, if you're talking to someone that needs what you're selling, wants what you're selling, sees you as an expert, has their questions answered, has been pre-qualified, and it's a great offer, you don't have to have like ninja level Illuminati secret closing techniques. My main close used to be when I was toe to toe nose to nose selling. I would take the contract. I would say, okay, your name was, okay, and the date today is and they would tell me the date. All right. So, and I would pick the contract up, slide it over to them, give them the pen, say, all right, if you could sign there, we'll get everything going. That was the magic closing technique. There's nothing magical about it. It's just that everything that went before that went really, really well. I did all the steps. I crossed off all the things on my checklist. And closing was like a formality. And that's the way it should be. These days, closing is very similar. It's usually me saying, hey, are you in front of a computer? And it's usually yes. Or not. Maybe they have their phone. Do you have their phone? Yeah. Let me send you over the things that we talked about. And let's go over them real quick. So we're talking about the same thing. Send it over through email or text or whatever. We walk through that on the phone or on the call. Is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. All right. And then I either have them confirm or I confirm to them, whatever. And we can get going. Nothing really rocket sciencey about it. It's pretty simple. Because you did all the other steps right. There's no need for high pressure, hard closing techniques. That wouldn't make any sense. Why would I do that? If at this point I'm having massive trouble closing, I missed something on the way over here. If they come up with like 67 objections, well, there's a lot of info and questions I've missed in the qualifying process, in us talking together earlier. And you need to make a mental note of that and realize, I'm missing some stuff. Need to work that into the presentation in my qualifying questions, whatever, right? You need to be aware of the fact that closing should be easy and smooth if you've done all the other stuff right. Because now we're talking to people that want to buy. I'm not trying to shove my product down their throat, hoping that they say yes, fingers crossed, and me going full Rambo on them if they don't. That's not nice, and that's the main reason why sales get such a bad rap. It's infested with this thinking of, I need to get the sale, so I'm gonna pressure you and push on you and descend on you so you can sign the dotted line. That's the wrong way to go about it. Selling should be pretty simple, should be a sequence of steps. Not saying it's easy, but it should be rather simple. And if you do it the right way, you'll see that closing is pretty straightforward. And that's the perfect way to sell in a non-sleazy, non-manipulative, non-high pressure way.